serving as a family. She led the family ministry previously as well. Yeah. She's also a master guide. She's a mom of a teenager and a loving wife. So we'll give our time to her.
Good afternoon, everyone. I have to move this way. Good afternoon, church. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. It's good to be here once again in Filipino International Church here in Hanger Lane. It's my first time standing here in front of you today. I normally just come here before, normally sit down in one of the pews. Now it's time for me to give you the inspirational talks. I would like to thank your Children's Ministers Leader, Sister Beverly, for giving me this opportunity to start here with you this afternoon. Okay, so, but I need my... Yeah, okay, well, this afternoon I'll be talking to you about your theme for today. Do you know your theme for this afternoon? What's the theme for today's day? God is with you always. Not today, not tomorrow, but every day. Always. Now, this is very simple yet incredibly powerful. God is with us not only during the time that we feel good, that blessings is pouring down. God is always with us as well when we face the struggles of life. With whatever you are facing, remember, God is always there with you. All of us, we all go through life, all seasons of life. There are times when we're sad, there are times when we are happy. There are times when we feel that loneliness creeps in. There are times when we feel that our prayers are being unanswered. Now this afternoon, I'm going to tell you a story about a little girl named Inday. Do you know that name? It's very common in the Philippines, right? Who among us here being called Inday? We've got Inday who are visiting all the way from the US. First word, yeah, there she is. Okay, now. We've got Inday here too. Let me just try this. Actually, I've got my little girl, not little girl, she's now 15 years old. I'll give this to her. I actually asked her to do this for me so that she's not going to fall asleep. I've been shaking earlier on. You just don't know. Okay, now I'm going to tell you a story about Inday. She was born in a loving family back in the Philippines. She was born in Bukidnon. Those of you from Bukidnon, she was born from Bukidnon, Kibawe, Bukidnon to be specific, with a loving parents, in love couple. When they were young, and she was born there, they had a great life. The couple, young couple, beautiful house, business was booming. At 2 years old, when Inday was 2 years old, her parents decided they're going to move back to Iligan City, where her father grew up. Now, they moved to Iligan City. When they moved to Iligan City, you know what happened? No house, they have to live with her grandparents. When they lived with her grandparents, Inday's grandparents had favorites because her dad, he had so many siblings. Now, they had their favorites. Now, every time there's a special event, do you know what happened to Inday? They were not favorites. They were not invited to these birthdays. Food were hidden from them. They could hear their cousins being called when grandma and granddad arrived from the city, but not them. So what happened? Mom and dad decided that, okay, let's move away from my parents. So dad worked very hard. he built this tiny little nipa hut for the siblings. Inday, she's got 4 brothers. She's the second one. So they moved. Father worked very hard, and so what happened? Because of that, they built a bigger house. They managed to buy, they bought a farmland with so many fruits in there. And then, one day, when when her mom and dad was there, they heard something. By the way, the own a carabao. Anyone knows what a carabao is? What is a carabao in English?
Water buffalo.
Yes, so in the Philippines it's very important, this one, for those people who does farming. So, they heard someone from behind. I need you, carabao. So, there was this bad people, we call them the bandits. They had these long rifles. So, her mom, quickly, she stepped down from the carabao and they handed the carabao back to the bandits, to these bad people. When that happened, they started running. And you know what these bad people did to them? They started shooting them. Do you know what happened? God was with her, mom and dad. They hid them behind this big rock. And Inda remembered that day. She really thought that she was going to lose her parents. As if that wasn't enough. Inda's life and her family was tested over and over again. One day, her dad was a lay preacher. He was actually giving Bible studies to his neighbors. And he looked up the sky. There was a big fire. What happened to my fire? So there was a big fire. So he suddenly stood up, ran as fast as he could. By the time he arrived there, the house that he built with his family was slowly burning to ashes. He looked and he was like, nothing much we can do. Inda remembered that day when she looked up, she remembered the gold medal she received at school. She remembered as well that the blue dress that she wore on stage when she received that award. Because in the Philippines, when you are quite smart, you go on stage at the end of the school year, every March. So when you're good, when you study really, really hard, young ones, you will go on stage, your parents will give you a gold medal, silver medal, bronze medal, or ribbons, depending which award you're going to receive. So that's what happened. So, Inda cried and cried, so the rest of her family. Now, do you know what happened? Everything that her family owned, the big farmland, house, was gone just like that. And in the village where she grew up, people would say, we are not going to accept anyone who actually their house just burned. They're going to bring us bad luck. Nobody accepted them. 5 siblings, apart from one family. Her dad's brother, who was also very poor. They were sleeping there like sardines. And life was difficult. But Inda had a dream. Who among you here has you've got dreams, right? What do you want to be when you grow up? Oh, you wanted to become a vet. Anyone here who wanted to become a teacher when you were... Now, you wanted to become a teacher? Anyone here? Well, Inda, she really wanted to become a teacher. So inside her head, regardless what my family is going through, I am going to persevere. I'm going to study really, really hard. And she did. But at the age of 14 years old, because the family this time, they were very poor, Inda decided a heartbreaking decision. She was going to move away from her parents, from her brothers, to become a working student. She used to work with her families. When third year high school in the Philippines, we've got night school. So she went to school nighttime. During the daytime, she was working with these people. And then fourth year came, and she was like, I am so tired working with other people. I miss my family. She only saw them like during Friday night and Saturdays, like to go to church. And so she decided, I'm going to go back with my family. Now, where Inday was studying in the city, the family lived quite far. So nighttime, imagine, in the Philippines during that time, this was years ago, no electricity. So Inday every night just to walk 1 hour from where the last jeepney stopped and walk home. Some of her neighbors as well. But when they're going to start the party, Inday has to go home on her own, pitch black, no electricity. But time moved on, and Inday worked so hard, studied really hard, and then she graduated with this big smile on her face, and she finished her high school. Now came university. University is, you have to pay a lot of money, obviously. Inday's family couldn't afford to send her to a private school. So she took the exam, and she was accepted to the only university in the city where she grew up. In Iligan City, I don't know among you here who know the school, Mindanao State University of Iligan Institute of Technology. We call it MSU, IIT. So she studied there. While she was studying there, life was difficult for her, but she pursued. But during that time, when she was studying, she then during her university life, she joined the Movement of Adventist Students. Any more of you have heard that organization? Any member of the Movement of Adventist Students here? We've got one here at Inday, yes. So Movement of Adventist Students, she became a facilitator as well of this program we call FlyC. I don't know if you've heard of that program. Footsteps of Christ's love illuminates every soul. So she was a facilitator. She was traveling around Mindanao and in Visayas region. With a young age, she was so confident at that time. I don't know, but God gave her the courage and the strength to do so. So she continued. And then one day when Inday was doing her training, and after Master Guide, there's a training in the Philippines. I don't know if you've heard, they call it Rescue 741. 7 for 7th, 4 for a day, and A for Adventists. So Rescue 741. She went to this training. Swimming in the swimming pool. When she went in the swimming pool, she was so good swimming until she had leg cramps. So she started drowning. Remember, training, there were so many swimmers there. They were trained to rescue people. Nobody believed that she was actually drowning, literal. She was shouting until her voice is gone. Nobody came to the rescue. Until when she was starting to really, all you could see was her arm. The son of the pastor, the director in South Union, Philippine, SPUC. What? That's it. Okay, so you know that one. Okay. Anyone heard of Pastor Cañales? Yes, it was his son. Okay, Ralph Cañales. He was looking and was thinking, Inday, she's not really acting. She's drowning. So he jumped to the pool, rescued Inday. Inday was struggling. She drank so much water because part of the rescue training. I don't know among you if you've tried. If you try to rescue a person who is still conscious, who is struggling to breathe, they will pull you down because they want to breathe. That's exactly what happened. Do you know what this guy did? The one who rescued Inday? He pushed her down, and she drank so much water. But he saved her life. So that's what happened. And then Inday finished her university studies in MSU IIT, and she became, do you know her dream? She wanted to become she wants to become a teacher. So when the time came, after all the struggle she's been through, she marched on the stage with a beaming smile on her face. She said, yes, I made it. So she did it. But then, God had another plan in her life. And also one more thing, do you know Inday's dream? One of Inday's dream, because she wanted to become a teacher. Another thing, when she was young, she saw this teacher singing the song Bayang Magilon, you know, the Lupang Hinirang, the national anthem. And you go in front, they go like this. Can you sing the song?
Alas na silanganan, alab ng puso, sa dibdib mo'y buhay.
Okay, stop there. Okay, so, Indai really wanted to go stand in front of the class, in front of the school, to literally just do that's what she did, and she loved doing that. When she came here last time, when Brenda Walsh was here, remember what happened? She was sitting there, she was just trying to do this, while she was sitting in Brenda Walsh, she was watching her discreetly, she didn't know, until she then asked her, and then she was so embarrassed to stand in front. I don't know if you remember that time. Anyway, so, God has another plan. God guided her. In that finish, she became a teacher, she was happy, all her dreams came true. But then at the age of 21, do you know what happened? God had another plan. She left her beloved country, Philippines, and she flew to a different country looking for a better life. That's what they say, good life, right? So that's where God brought her. So she came. And when she came in the country, can you see the flag? What flag is this one? United Kingdom, right? So she came here in the United Kingdom. When she came here, life was difficult. She suffered emotional abuse. She suffered depression, loneliness. She cried on her pillow most nights. She cried and cried until one day, her friend, one of the persons she knew before she came in this country, noticed what she's going through. One day when she was on her way to work, she dropped by to check on Indai. When she saw exactly what was happening to her, she said to her, "You need to leave this house right now." Indai doesn't have any family here. Right now. And what she did, she took this black bin liner, the bags. She put all Indai's clothes, Indai tried to help her as much as she could. She put a lot of her clothes in the black bin liner. She didn't know where to go. So what happened? She went to one of her colleagues. They took her in and she lived there for 2 years. Now, that wasn't, imagine Indai was going through. Her heart, she didn't know what to do, but that was life. She moved on, she carried on. Until, first job, she was trained as a dental nurse. She's not qualified. Remember, she's a teacher, right? She came here, she didn't know what to do as a dental nurse. So she was trained, she went there, very happy. Her boss, by the way, told her that, you can take, if you're not going to take your holiday this year, I'll give it to you next year. I will pay your holiday pay next year when you go. When Indai was ready to go on holiday to fly back to the Philippines, guess what? That afternoon, he left without saying anything. There was no problem. A small piece of paper left at the desk, reception, and he left. And you know what it says there? Your contract ends today. Indai was about to go to the Philippines to see her father, her mom and dad, her siblings, her friends. She was so excited. No work, no money. Indai already has the ticket. She bought ticket already to fly. And you know what? Do you think Indai gave up? She didn't give up. She fought. She was strong because of the training, what she's been through. So, she took her boss to the tribunal. Do you think Indai won? Indai won the tribunal. He ended up paying her a lot of money. I'm not going to tell you, but she did, and she was happy. She received that when she came back from the Philippines. So Indai kept on dreaming, until she said, "Oh, one of her friends said, I think you're too good to be, just to be sitting right next to me, supporting me. You need to study." So then a new dream. Indai's dream was to become a dental hygienist and therapist to help people. Do you know what they do, children? Yes? So hygiene to help you look after your teeth so that you can keep your teeth for life. Until you're 100, maybe longer. For you to save you going to the dentist and pay lots of money. Dental therapists, they go and start drilling your teeth if you've got decay, and you will feel it. And if it's too bad for children, they will end up removing their teeth. So that's what's in this dream. So then she said, okay. But before that, she needed to be a qualified dental nurse. So then she applied, she studied, exam came. Do you know what happened to the exam? The exam was on a Sabbath day. And Inday, she is a member of what organization? Movement of Adventist Students back in the Philippines, where this organization helps students to really stand their religious liberty, their faith. That if you're going to take exam on Sabbath, you go ask your professor for you not to take, because Sabbath is whose day? The Lord's day. So Inda asked her pastor. The pastor wrote to the conference. The pastor rather wrote to the National Examining Board for Inda to take the exam, not on the Sabbath day. And it did happen, but she needed to wait for 6 months. That 6 months she needed to study on her own. And then she passed the exam. So that was it. But then now she needed to become a dental hygienist and therapist. She applied for so many schools, universities. And you know it's difficult to study in this country, right? So Inda applied many universities. And then one of the universities that she applied is the King's College. You know King's College, right? It's difficult to get in. During her time, there were about 500 applicants. 250 were invited for interviews, only for 40 students to be accepted. And Inday was one of those students who were lucky to go and study. So she went, and she was so looking forward to it, until one day, she realized another thing happened, challenges happened. But this one, she wasn't quite sure what to do. Inday felt pregnant. She felt pregnant. And she was ready to go to school, university. She was looking forward. And then during the open day, she went to the university with her face. She said to the director, please, just let me study. Because I tell you what, Inday, I am clever, I think. And I can do it. It doesn't matter if I'm pregnant. And you know, the director just looked at her in the eyes straight away. Trust me. I will allow you to defer for a year. After a year, you come back and you're going to start. She was like, okay. Well, she needed to balance her life. There's a new baby coming. God's blessing. She deferred for a year. That time she started in this when her little girl was 6 months old. To study dentistry, it was tough. When I say tough, very tough. Having a 6 months old, where no one to help her, to look after her child. So many people came to help her. And so many people, in fact, some of them are here today. But anyway, I'll tell you later on. So, I'm so far ahead of my story. Okay, so, anyway, that's what happened. So, they studied really hard, with a difficult life, but she managed. All the final time, day examination came. 2 days written exam and 2 days practical exam. Written exam went really well. She studied hard. So, first day of the practical one, she did so well. Second day, final day, she took the wrong train. Instead, she boarded, the train was there. She was ready, she thought it was her train, she jumped onto the train. The moment the train closed, the train says, London Bridge. Instead of her going to Denmark Hill. So, but she was relaxed. She said, it's okay because I have enough time. She thought she had enough time, but 2 hours and a half before her time. So, to take the practical test. There were internal and external examiners that day. And she made her way back from London Bridge, going to Denmark Hill, but she needed to stop in Peckham Rye. She waited and waited. And you know what happened? Train cancelled. Look, she was still relaxed. The next train cancelled. The next train cancelled. Do you know what happened? Her heart started to race. She couldn't understand why this is happening. She didn't care who was there at the station. She was crying. She didn't care. She thought the world fell apart right in front of her. She was thinking, this is it. But then, do you think Inday gave up? She didn't give up. She ran the school. She rang everyone she could possibly just to get hold of the director. Finally, the director spoke to her and told her, don't worry, just make your way here as soon as you can. All Indians, like what she felt, or not what she felt, like, like when you take the exam, you have these butterflies, like you look so scared, and all of those just disappeared. Because she cried, no more tears, gone. So when she walked through that door to take her final exam, practical exam, even the internal external examiners, although the internal knew who she was, the external examiner, it was her who cried and cried just hours before. So that's what happened in Inda's life. Now, can we see God in her life? God's presence all throughout her life? Yes? Okay, remember our theme is God is with you always. Now, when Inda was unloved by her grandparents, she could have grown bitter, she could have grown angry to her grandparents, to her cousins. But you know what happened? She grew in love and compassion because God filled the gap, reminding her that His love is not dependent on human favoritism. Through her parents' unwavering love, she saw the reflection of God's love in her life. When the bandits came and almost killed her parents, God's protection surrounded them. They found safety behind the rocks. The rock, who is God, a shelter in the time of storm. He is the shade by day and defense by night. So God saved her parents. When their house burned down to ashes, they lost everything, all her memorabilia, all those awards that she received. Her favorite blue dress were gone. Everything from ashes. God rebuilt her foundation, showing that He is not just the God of comfort, but of restoration. When in the swimming pool, when she was about to drown, when literally no one believed her. They thought she was just acting because she actually knew how to swim. But God put the person. Do you think that was just a coincidence? No. God put just one person to be there at that time who saved her life from drowning. At the age of 14, when she left home, scared and unsure, working for other people just to pursue her dream to become a teacher. It was God who gave her the courage to fight, and justice prevailed through to fight, and who were with her, who walked with her every night for an hour to get home to get home safely. Her strength came from more than human will. It came from divine endurance. When her boss mistreated her, when her boss unpaid her, it was God who gave her the courage to fight. She couldn't have done it on her own. She was new in the country. And you know what happened? Justice prevailed through the tribunal. And God was her advocate and her defender. During the 6 months of studying alone on her own, God was with her. And God said to her, I am enough. So God gave her wisdom and perseverance, just as He gave it to Solomon. I don't know if I've mentioned this, when her father passed away, her father suffered from cancer, when she knew that her dad was going to die, and when her dad passed away, her world cracked open. It felt unfair, cruel. Why, God? Why do you allow this to happen to me? Everything we've been through, where are you? Those were the questions she asked. In the silence that followed his father's death, she questioned everything to God. You know, children, when you go through problems, when you go through issues of life, you ask, where's my friend? Where's my mom? Where's my dad? Why I don't have this? I don't have friends. They have, they have big parties and I remember that God is with you always. So in the silence that followed the death of Indai's father, grief wrapped around her tightly. She had faced poverty, injustice, and fear. But this loss was different. It felt final. And yet, even there, God was present. Not in the way she wanted, but in the way she would come to understand in time. He was there in the tears, in the strength to keep it going. He was there in the memories, reminding her that death is not the end for those who believe. In the stillness of grief, God didn't answer with explanations. He answered with presence. And slowly she came to understand, even when healing doesn't happen the way we ask, God is still faithful. Her father's suffering was not unnoticed, and his life, not his death, became a legacy of love. So she carried her father's strength into every challenges that followed. His love became her anchor, and God's grace became her comfort. This chapter of Indai's life became a reminder that faith is not the absence of pain, but the presence of God in the midst of it all. When she became pregnant, maybe other people would see it as a setback because you're still looking forward to study, and then you get pregnant, and then you have to stop. But do you know what? God turned it into a season of preparation. The delay was not in denial for her to stop studying, achieving her dream. It was God's perfect timing, aligning her purpose with her child's life. Now she is a proud mom of a 15-year-old girl. And you know what? On the day of her final exam, when trains failed and tears fell down from her face, from her eyes, she could have been broken down. But God made a way. He softened the heart of the director, held back the fear, and gave her peace to walk into the exam room with grace and excellence. So, children, church, who do you think that little girl, who do you think Indai in the story? Yes, she is right here standing in front of you. It was, my mom called me Indai. My family called me Indai. So if my family will call me my first name, which is Cheryl, or then I will know straight away they're not happy with me. So that's me. So that's my story. Now, children. I'm talking to children. Where are the children? I couldn't see them. You're not listening. You're on your phone. Are you listening? I'll be asking you a question in a minute. Okay, now, children. Sometimes life feels so hard. Maybe you're sad because one of your friends rejected you and you have another friend. Maybe someone you know, maybe someone your family is sick, or maybe they're gone. Maybe for those students who are preparing for GCSE exams, or taking their exams this month and the next, you're probably scared and worried that you are not good enough, that you're going to fail your exam. And maybe you feel alone, crying in your bedroom. I don't have any friends. Like no one understands what you're going through. But here's something very important I'm going to tell you today. Do you know what? God is with you always. He sees the tears you cry when no one else is looking. He hears the thoughts that you don't even say it loud. He walks with you when your legs feel so tired and your hearts feel so heavy. And when you're studying, children, even adults, because I know some of us here are still studying, when you feel overwhelmed, ask Him, God, please help me to remember. Please help me to be calm when I take my exam. Please give me the knowledge and wisdom that I need for me to pass this test. And I tell you what, God will come right there on time. He will not leave you nor forsake you. Although He doesn't take always the hard things away from us, but He gives you the strength to go through them. He's not going to make your path easy, but He will make sure that He will go through with you. When you're sad or hurt, whisper a prayer, even just few words. Jesus, I need you right now. And he comes close. He holds your heart like a gentle father. You might not know him, you might not see him, but you can feel him in the peace that slowly comes. You are never, children, you are never too young to be loved by God, and never to be small for him to help. So when the pain feels so big, or the test feels so impossible, or the day feels so dark, remember, God is your light, God is your helper, and he is your friend. And one day, just like Inday, one day, just like me, who achieved my dreams, who became a teacher, and many more along the way, remember that God will be with you. Now, when I look back where I came from, do you know what I say to myself now? God was with me in every step of the way. So, to our parents here, I'm talking to you. I don't know what you're going through. I've got a teenager here with me as well. I only have one, as you know, and she's 15. Now, sometimes as parents, there's a unique kind of pain that comes from watching your child turn away from God, turn away from you, from the values you taught from the very young age, maybe even from God himself, left the church. And you may be asking right now, Lord, where did I go wrong? Why is this happening to me? Are you still there? Are you still listening to my prayers? Let me remind you today, God is still with you. He has not let go of your child who is backsliding. You see, the same God who formed your child in the womb knows exactly where they are today. Even if they are far from home, far from the church, far from the truth, God loves them more deeply than you ever could. God does not panic like what we do, just like me. Earlier on, I was panicking. I was telling my friends, my heart was racing so hard. I don't know, because I used to stand in front, but I was shaking. And literally, I didn't know. But do you know what? Sometimes we panic too soon. But God does not panic. God patiently pursues your child. All of us. Remember the prodigal son? The father didn't chase him down. But he never stopped watching the road. When his son finally returned home, the father ran. That is God. So what can we do today as I close? Pray without ceasing, just for a change in their behavior, but for transformation of their heart. Prayer is not wasted breath. It's planting seeds in the spiritual realm. Love unconditionally. Love does not excuse sin, but love that keeps the door open. Even if they reject your faith, even if they don't listen to you, let them never doubt your love as a parent. Trust in God's timing. It may take months, years, or even decades. But God is not limited by time. He is the God of redemption. Rest in the truth that your child's story is not over. Many rebellious hearts becomes the strongest testimonies. Finally, know this. You are not alone. God sees every tear. He hears every late night prayer. He is holding you while you wait. And He is working even when you cannot see it. So don't give up, my dear parents. Don't give up, brothers and sisters. Children, don't give up. God is not too weary to give us the strength. He is with you. He is with every child in this room. And He is still waiting for our family, for our story, family story, with mercy, patience, and eternal love. Now, we need to trust and walk in faith because God is with us always. We can live differently, pursuing our dreams. We can face each day with courage, knowing that we are not alone. We can pray boldly, love freely, forgive deeply. Very important to forgive. Because the God who created the universe is walking with us. In Isaiah 41:10, it says, "Do not fear, for I am with you. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you in my righteous right hand." And in Matthew 28:20 it says, "And behold, I am with you always, even up to the end of the age." Trust His timing, trust His presence. Even in silence, God is working. So today, let His anchor, let His truth be your anchor. God is with you always. In your tears, He is your comfort. In your weakness, He is your strength. In your joy, He is your song. You are never alone. So when all of us walk from here today, walk with confidence. Because the presence of the Almighty God goes before you, walks beside you, and stands in front of you. Remember John 14, it says, "Let not your heart be troubled. Believe in God. Believe also in me. In my Father's house are many mansions. And if I'll go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you unto myself, so that wherever I am, there ye may be also." So it is my prayer, when that time will come, we know that God is with us here today, but we couldn't see Him, children. But when the time will come, it is my prayer that that heavenly home that is made of pure gold, we can all live there. We can see Jesus face to face. So I pray that none of us will be found wanting today, but all of us will receive that eternal life that God has promised to us. This is my prayer. And now to close, I am going to call on, remember I told you I've got a husband? And I've got a 14-year-old, not 14, she's 15-year-old. So I'm going to call them now to close this, to give us the song of hope. The song entitled, "Redeemer of the Rain."
Amen.
Happy Sabbath, church. That was my wife. We're going to sing Redeemer of the Rain. Is everyone blessed today? Yes. For such a good service. Let's just wait for the music. hope to our heartache, healing out of every hurt that invades a shattered world. We never walked through trials in vain. He's the Redeemer of the rain. Dark days we walk through, they lead a path for others, leading them to the Redeemer of the rain. He brings beauty out of brokenness and hope to our heartache, healing out of every hurt that invades a shattered world. We never walk through trials in vain. Ooh, we've known its mercies long enough to stay. He's the Redeemer of the rain.
We now come to the end of our children's Sabbath. I hope that